Weary travellers, come, take a seat. Rest ye head upon the pillow as I recount for you this tale. A tale of woe, witchcraft, and wandering. A tale of valour and fear, horror and vice. That's right, motherfuckers, it's time for Dark Heresy. Last time, you finally linked up with the Blades of Vresh and got a big old parcel of food delivered to them from your Inquisitor. In order to win their favour, you agreed to head towards the Skystarers scriptorium and scout it out for the Blades. On the way there, you encountered a lost child who was revealed to be an unsanctioned psyker. But don't worry, citizens, our heroes dealt with the threat. The sun is rising, and you break your camp some distance away from the scriptorium. What's the plan? What's going on? Who are we? Why are we here?
Can we process the fact that we killed a child? Is that
Yeah.
something we can do
I
quick?
think we need to bury the child. I mean,
Did you guys just leave her there all night?
No. However you guys dealt
we
with it.
didn't talk about the.
No,
okay.
we finished on her being clutched in Emilia's arms as she was very much dead. So what's the plan?
Dora went back to bed.
In yours, or did you try to crawl under Lothar's thing again?
Let's find out.
Oh no!
I don't like that. I don't like that one bit.
Oh dear.
Dora tried to sneak underneath Tora's sleeping bag again.
Yeah, you tried to sneak into Lothar's tent.
I appreciate what you just said. You snuck under your own sleeping bag, is what you did.
He got so confused. Yeah. Yeah, I think he snuck back into his own tent thinking it was Lothar's, like, oh, fucking this is really going to get him.
Yeah, he
There's
lay
no
there
way I'm going to
awake
get
for
him
a
twice
while.
in one night.
What's Amelia doing in this good
boy.
emperor-fearing night?
Is the next morning?
Yeah, morning, night, but, you know, what did she do during the night, if you'd like to talk about that?
I mean, I think for a while she would just have stayed there, unable to do anything. And I guess, we have to bury them at the very least.
Very nice collective we there.
Well, I don't know, whoever, at least her, I assume maybe Lothar, but that's up to you.
I'm trying to figure. What did I just witness?
Murder?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Okay. So I'm not awake enough for this. Yeah, I'll help you. I'll help you. And I guess Lothar's then going to try and grab his I was going to say trowel. That's not what he has. He's got a little shovel thing. Entrenching tool. To entrench a child.
This child is now light cover. Good job, everyone. I think between Emilia and Lothar, because I don't think BGZ is getting involved in this, and Tora needs his beauty sleep. It's difficult digging in the sand, but I feel like you're able to make quite a shallow grave for this child.
Killing children makes Tora hungry.
Yeah.
I'm going to choose to not hear that as I'm actively digging a grave.
That's setting Tora's sleep as he's rolling.
He's mumbling that underneath the sand in his own. No, so I guess we bury the child, and I guess Lothar's gonna look at Amelia and say, what exactly did I just say?
What did you even see? You're saying he was still asleep.
Lothar heard, I think, gunshots, and multiple gunshots. Tora shot her twice, and BGZ shot 3 times, I think. I don't know if Lothar actually saw much from inside his tent.
Amelia shouted at them to stop.
Yeah.
There's no way you didn't hear the psychic scream.
Yeah, that would have woken you up.
Oh yeah, no, I definitely heard that piece. I just, I think I would have popped out probably around the time that, she eventually got shot on the way out. So she's a psyker, but she screamed, and we killed her. After all that,
they killed her. Or in BGZ.
I'm not awake enough for this.
BGZ seems to be cleaning. Yeah. Tora snores echo across the camp. BGZ seems to be
cleaning his carbine by the fireside.
I don't know. I think Lothar's got a lot of mixed feelings on this one.
Like, I get that they were a psyker, but all the effort of attempting to help them, and because of one flaw, we're gonna kill them.
That's kind of how it goes, yeah. I guess. I think I'm just gonna I'm gonna try and go back to sleep after that. And I think Lothar is just going to, after saying a quick prayer, he's gonna hop back to the tent. Ideally his own and not Tora's, and then get the shit scared out of him in the process.
Yeah. I think you
Roll
find
a
your tent.
Roll
point.
your search surface to see if you find your bed.
Oh.
Nope,
Right.
you're indoors.
So Tora, after thinking that he's got the wrong tent and is about to go to bed, slowly Lothar lowers himself down on this spring trap he's made.
I can't believe it happened twice.
Yep, maybe it was the double fake.
Yeah.
Lothar went, I know Tora will be underneath my bed. I'll go sleep in his bed.
Hate that worked. But yeah, no, I don't think Lothar's got anything more. He's probably going to try and very restlessly sleep through the rest of the night here.
And what is Amelia doing?
There's no way she's gonna sleep. She's gonna probably sit out and just kind of stare and contemplate things.
He usually says nothing for the rest of the night. He's just staring at the fire after cleaning his gun.
And he's staring to the sky as well, for that matter.
Speaking of staring into the sky, it's now a lovely morning, and Skystarers Scriptorium is not that far away from you guys. Yeah, as it's Skystarers, not Screamers, although that is now canon now. I have to change the map.
Every morning they stare at the sun, so you know when the sun comes up when they scream because their eyes.
Yeah, exactly. That's 100% what happens. Thanks, you Kaz.
I thought that like the one magpie in all of Al Jadar is there.
Yeah,
that's what that was. That was terrible.
So yeah, what would you guys like to do? So if you remember, the Blades said if you want to, if you want to see the rest of what the Blades have, basically, they said you need to scout out Skystarers for us. As like a little, you scratch my back, I let you into our camp, kind of thing. It's an old saying.
I remember that old saying.
Yeah. So what is the plan then? Obviously, you guys kind of stopped before you got to Skystarers for this child, so I'm counting this as within a day's travel of like Skystarers plus somewhere else if you want to, because it's probably like an hour away.
I think the plan is just to kind of go to Skystarers and figure out what they do other than just staring at the sky. I'm almost positive that that's a misnomer. That's gotta be. Like they can't just all stare at the sky all the time. That seems silly.
Cool.
I think we need to discuss what are we going to do with these boys anyway? I was reminiscing about when we first arrived on the planet and what Lane's mission for us was, which was just see what's going on. I think we kidnap all of them and put them on a ship. What are your opinions on this?
Okay, well, kidnap them how and on what ship?
Well, you know the watercress.
I'm pretty sure that's a nut or something, isn't it?
It's a sandwich, and you got Mr. Alleyway on the top, and then you got us on the bottom, and then you got these guys. Is the nice watercress? The big thing.
Are you currently awake right now, or?
I don't know if this is in character or out of character.
I picture just like Tora's brushing his teeth in his pants or something whilst the camp's being disassembled. So I think Tora's suggesting getting everyone in Al Jadar and just popping them on the Ipcress and fucking off.
Well, we certainly could do that, but we don't know if we're bringing something that would be like a chaotic entity on board, that's never happened before. So I don't know. I don't like the silence of that.
If you say that confidently enough, I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah.
Cut
Blaine
to
will
our
understand.
Samuel cutting apart demons on the Abyss right now.
Yeah.
It
would be a good chance to talk about, before you get to Skystarers, what you're going to do there, but also what is your general plan right now on Al Jadar, because I kind of feel like you're at a crossroads and you guys need to come up with a game plan about what you're doing with the Blades, if anything.
Yeah. I mean, we could try to recruit them. That seems pretty dangerous, frankly. We don't really know anything more about them than the fact that they kill people really good and create terrible, awful atrocities along the way.
They'd fit right in.
I would say, are we any better?
You know what? I think Lothar's going to stay quiet on that one. That's a fair point. Well, either way, we need to learn more about them. I don't. Edgy.
Well,
I think. I don't know. I think what we should do is we don't have enough info yet to know that they have any kind of good intention whatsoever, or that frankly they're going to be willing to hop on board, whether we kidnap them or not. Something tells me that what they're doing is probably not for the benefit of the Imperium, like we're supposed to be doing.
But everything we do is for the benefit of the Imperium, so everything that you've accidentally done by proxy, therefore, has to be for the benefit of the Imperium.
I think Lothar is going to hike a thumb over his shoulder at the shallow grave of the child from last night and say, I'm not so sure about that.
I can 100% assure you the good of the Imperium. Fear not the mutant, the psycho,
or the heretic. I know.
The long lines at Fudderux.
What was that last part?
Huh?
He's like fading in and out of consciousness.
Fear not the mutant, psycho, and the long lines at Fudderux.
Wow, we really did learn a lot of different things.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, sure. Then I don't know. Amelia, what do you think?
I don't think she's gonna answer.
Ooh.
Just gonna be drinking recap.
Bovril.
Yeah. Have a lovely sippy of your recap.
Fear not the mutant, the psycho to live, witch to live.
Now, in terms of travel, because you guys technically rolled to get to Skystarers, I'm not going to make you roll for anything in this one because it's only a couple of miles down the road. But yeah, is there anything you guys would like to discuss before you kind of reach the vicinity of it?
I mean, well, I think we've got to try and, I don't know, come to a consensus at least on what we're doing. Out of character, I think we got to come to a consensus proper.
I mean, I guess if anything, when you're asking about like, well, we don't know, I'll just interject. Like, yes, we do. They only care for the strong and they kill the weak.
That sounds like Imperial values if I've ever heard them.
Don't know about that.
Weird how the Martian is the least human of us all. All these things about feelings and stuff like that.
I don't know. I really don't. I'm of the mindset we need more info. I'm of the mindset that what they're doing potentially could have some, I don't know, chaotic something. Like this can't be what we're. This can't be what we're about.
Chaos involved.
Going around and killing a whole bunch of folks. Like, hold on a second here, and he's gonna pull out his primer and try and flip through a couple of different like bits and bobs. Like, this sounds a lot like daggers and bayonets, boots and socks. Why did they have to have an entry in boots and socks? Oddly enough, this doesn't have anything in it about chaotic anything. Huh.
Murdering, at least as far as I understand, is not murdering tons of people is not a way to bring chaos without other aspects.
So if murdering bunches of people brought upon chaos, we'd have the chaos problem currently on the ship.
Yeah.
Again, cut to Orfamiel, fucking doing a DDT on a fucking bloodthirster,
DDT.
I have a question. Would Orfamiel have the rubber ducky he received on Sanguinella?
Oh my god!
His demon hunting adventures.
I believe it's in his room. I doubt he's got it on his person.
But it would have to go back to his room.
He
Is
probably
it the really annoying one that
let's say he's
like,
visited his room probably. As it happens with the time thing, he's just got into his room right now. What are you looking for?
No, I'm assuming off ship. I probably don't have access.
It's probably a bit far range. I doubt Tora's got the funkiest of. Yeah, I doubt Tora's got the funkiest of transmitters for this fucking badly rigged up duck. But yeah. It's probably, let's say it's in pride of pace on his ranterpiece. Yeah.
What did you do to the duck?
Don't worry. So what's the plan then?
One reminder though, they've scratched off like the Emperor's name here or there on things, or what?
Yeah. So you saw an obelisk up to the face.
So they're putting Vresh in place of the Emperor, basically.
Which is why I'm kind of hesitant to say let's maybe.
But Vresh is not a demon or this or the other either, so it's just they're putting,
that we know of.
Wait, that's not. Yeah, it's not like demons to lie. I don't know. I'm really hesitant to.
Yeah, well, if you want to meet Vresh, then follow their orders.
Oh, what did I get myself into? All right, fine. We'll keep following through with what they want us to do, and.
I don't know how to help the rest of these people when they don't want to leave the desert.
It's their home, isn't it?
Sure. Yeah. Sometimes you have to leave.
Yeah, but not if you can fight for it, right? Why is that the weirdest thing I've said today?
That's what I'm saying. Like, they want to stand and fight. Can't take that away from them.
I don't know. All right, I guess then. So out of character, general consensus sounds like we are going to be continuing to follow along this particular quest line path with them of like, hey, scout things out, tell us how things are, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Cool. So, you guys crested Dune after a couple of hours of driving, and then you can see the scriptorium. Oh, Lothar, I imagine you're still on Horse Heresy.
Yes, absolutely am on Horse Heresy.
So ahead of you, quite some distance away, is a large square building with several towers rising out of it. There's a dome from the top of it bleached white in the desert sun. Even from here, you can see that there are crude barricades assembled around the building, piles of rubble and debris. You're a bit too far away to see much more. You can see there's a few figures milling around, but yeah, there's not much here. I imagine as well you probably cut the engine and you're hiding behind the dunes, so you're not immediately spotted. But yeah, that's probably what you see for your little hidey hole on top of a dune here.
Well, that's what I can see from here, guys. We ready to go and knock on the door?
What would you like
Is
to
this
do?
microbead working?
Yeah. Bless you.
Could you not sneeze into the microbead, please?
I would apologize. I don't like to think about you. Did we conclude we're going to tell these guys, hey, the Blades are coming, or are we just going to tell the Blades the numbers like they asked?
Yeah.
We don't know what's here yet.
That's a good point. Or I would like to reach up to the ornate door, knock the door.
Sure, you're quite some distance away, so I don't know what you're reaching for. But
I still picture him reaching.
Yeah, you're actually like poking a cargo hook on the side of the centaur. BGZ just looks at you like, what? Lovely. So how are we approaching this? Is this stealthily? It is like 10 a.m. Like you're in clear daylight, and it's kind of in the middle of a valley here, so it's not like there's a huge amount of cover around.
Could I see if there'd be a good reason for us to approach this stealthily? I don't know if we know if it's necessarily a hostile place or not.
Sure. Give me what sort of reason are you looking for?
I'm looking to see if there's a bunch of armed folks milling about. I'm hoping to see if it looks like they're entrenching different things. I don't know. Maybe this is a massive cannon that's designed to shoot down, spacefaring vessels that come by or something.
Cool. Give me an awareness test plus 20, please, from your magnoculars as you're taking a little peer and seeing what a better recce you could do.
Oh my god! Thank God for the plus 20.
Awesome. So that is a successful roll. I'm going to say that from these towers you can see there do seem to be weapons emplacements in them. You see, I think maybe one heavy bolter, and then there seems to be just sort of sandbags, but you can kind of see people milling around on the inside. You doubt they've got any sort of artillery or anything in there, but this seems to be a building that has been recently turned into a sort of improvised fortress with sandbags and debris and the like. I'm going to say from your slightly raised position, you can see that around this central building there is some kind of courtyard. You can't really see in it other than the fact that it is there. You don't see much going on outside of it. You see a few more people milling around, but it doesn't seem to be too active here. The debris is mostly what looks like sandstone chunks and all this kind of thing. It's not like it's tank traps and all this kind of thing. It does seem to be more improvised than it is intentional.
It might be the case. They already know the blades are coming in. I'm seeing a bolter up top and what looks like a little bit of them trying to fortify the place. So we probably shouldn't go in and say, "Hey, we're with the blades." That seems like a bad idea.
Pussy hole.
What?
He called you a pussy hole, I think was the word he used.
I don't even have a response for that.
So, fellas, what is the plan now?
I mean, I'm content with us rolling up to the scene with the ceiling missing and trying to see if they're friendly. It doesn't seem like they're going to shoot us on sight. I mean, it's a scriptorium, right? It's a bunch of book nerds in there.
Yeah, book nerds, those fuckers.
Yeah.
So, are you taking the centaur? Are you leaving it behind? Are you going on foot? Are you taking your horse?
I'm taking the horse. Cool. That's coming with. My worry is that we come back to the centaur and it's on blocks again.
Right. BGZ is willing to stay with the centaur. Don't worry.
Gotcha. I was worried. Now I'm not worried.
He's your alarm system, basically.
But what if we come back and BGZ's on bricks?
He's taking his legs.
Not again.
Not again. Oh dear. Well, yeah, I like that. So you're going on foot with the horse trotting alongside you. So yeah, there are three of you, four including the horse. Eventually you hear a shout go up from one of the towers, and then soon after you hear the thunder of hooves. There are three riders who are approaching you on lithe desert horses. They have headcloths that are blowing in the wind. They don't appear to be as armed or armoured as much as the Blades of Vresh were. These people do not carry spears with them. But you see each of them has a sizable sword sheathed on their waist alongside a laslock slung over their shoulder. It looks like through their headscarves there is one young girl, and then there are two elderly men. One of them seems almost ancient. The central figure, the younger of the two old men, approaches you, and he dismounts his horse and slowly walks over towards you, maybe 30 feet away.
Lothar's at least going to put his hand up in a friendly gesture of saying, like, "Hey, we're friends. Don't shoot us." That kind of thing.
The man says something to the other two riders who are with him, one of which makes a vague hand gesture towards the scriptorium. And as he approaches closer, he calls out to you, "Good morning."
Good morning to you.
Alrighty, ho.
How can I help you all? He says.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think we'd
Here
get
to
this far.
fuck spiders.
Spiders? What? I genuinely didn't hear what you
Please tell
said.
me
I was
that's
just
not a
You
confused.
were a
character.
little quiet.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, we're here to fuck spiders, and then went, mm-hmm.
Oh, I did not hear that. He does not also hear your speak about fucking spiders.
Darn.
You got any spiders?
That's not gonna win
Got any
hearts and
spiders
minds.
I can have sex with?
he does not respond to your spider sex request. Words I never thought I would say in Dark Heresy, but here we are, boys.
You expected better from me, you're wrong.
I should have. So, what would you like to do? He's just approached you quite friendly.
We've come to learn.
He kind of looks at you strangely, like whilst you are wearing desert robes, you're all clearly off-worlders. He says, "Learn what?"
About the scriptorium.
He nods his head and says, "Well, very well. First, your names, please."
Oh God, we didn't come up with names.
The fuck was that?
Was that just a las
That
gun
was a
firing
las
off?
pistol in the distance.
You just accidentally been discharged.
Oh shit! Oh fuck!
What's my name?
It was
So embarrassed.
I like to think that was BGC shooting at like a vole or something. The area is secure.
Yeah.
I apologize. I didn't realize that
Keep
would have to sound.
your soundboards off of my podcast, dog. So help me God.
This wasn't a soundboard.
Yeah, sure it wasn't.
trying
You
to-
scum.
I'm trying to get
Tell it
Team
to the
Speak.
judge.
Yeah.
I was using app. I'm using something called App Zapper.
Well,
Okay.
we'll let the audience decide.
Well,
That one.
as everyone seemingly hesitates, Amelia's just gonna say, "I'm Amelia."
He nods his head to you, Amelia.
Lothar.
He does the same to you, and then looks to you, Tora.
Dora.
It's good to meet you all. I am Falahadad, elder of the Mutalali tribe. Welcome to the Skystarers scriptorium. Here. And he sort of walks back towards his horse, kind of gesturing for you all to sort of follow him.
Wait a minute. Did he say
Wait,
the
so he's from
Mutalali
the
tribe?
tribe from the Oasis.
He
blah,
said
blah,
he is
blah.
elder of the Mutalali tribe, who you remember were the tribe.
Okay, and how long ago did we? He would have been there when we were here last.
Potentially, yeah.
I'd be like, oh, blah blah blah, whatever your name was.
Falahadad,
Good to
but
see
thank you.
again. No, I'm
Yep.
joking.
Oh, all right.
I'm not actually gonna.
Yeah.
But when he says the tribe or whatever, he's like, I guess if anything, maybe like I'll take the hood down of the desert thing, and kind of give him like I don't know. I guess if anything, using my
history check.
My mechadendrites and all that stuff to see if I do recognize. Like, does this match any? Like, is my own memory maybe not, but maybe my technology I can quickly,
Yeah, give me actually no. Give me a logic test. Logic test.
Cool.
I did give you
Where is that?
God knows. I think that's the first roll for
Oh,
it.
there it is.
Give me a +10 on this, actually.
No plus though, right?
A +10.
Right, no, but I don't put the plus.
Oh no, just the number.
I'll re-roll that.
Okay, give me a re-roll with that spicy.
Or can I auto succeed or not?
Don't think so with logic.
No.
Let's see.
Hey, that.
It's outside of range.
Yeah.
Damn.
Afraid not. You reckon, given his description of himself as elder of the Mutalali tribe, you reckon he was probably there, but you don't recognize him.
Or he's gonna roll through.
I wish I could remember. I'm terrible with names for anything, let alone this.
I will say, from like a personal level, you have not met this NPC before in terms of someone by this name. So that makes you feel better before you start looking at notes and stuff and going, "Oh no."
I'm trying to remember, who's the young man we fought alongside with though.
The one who got obliterated.
Yeah, he is dead as shit.
Oh shit! But like, that's a name I might recall.
I believe he was called Saleh, S-A-L-E-H.
Because I'm just gonna say
I remember that name.
Udalale tribe. That's how you say it.
Yes.
It's like that name is familiar. We've returned to this desert. We once fought alongside tribe and mentioned.
He nods his head and kind of turns back.
Well, some of us did.
He says, "Yes, I
Hello.
I remember you arriving alongside other Skyfall, and there was great bloodshed on the Oasis that day, but things changed rapidly then. But I do remember your presence."
We desperately need to understand what has changed. That's why we've returned. You did, your people, at least some of you, those who were willing, stood their ground to help us. I feel, I kind of look back to Lothar, kind of feel like we owe them.
Lothar nods.
He stands quite proudly and says, "My son Verndan was killed by the other Skyfallen that came to face you."
Sorry.
Oops.
He says, "No, it was a noble death, a warrior's death. Come, let us go back to the scriptorium and out of this heat. I will speak more with you there." And he mounts up on his horse again and sort of rides. As he
Lothar's gonna side mouth and go like, it kind of changes our plans a little bit, don't you think?
As he rides, he sort of introduces the other riders with him. He says, "Oh, this is Venra," and a young girl, probably about 13, takes a headscarf down. She's riding a horse better than anyone you've ever seen. And he points to the even older man next to him and says, "And this is Lactooth." And the man turns around and it's, "Oh baby, it's all gums." And he goes, "Ah!" And yeah, you guys head over towards the scriptorium.
Or like to think of the consequences of a good gum job.
Stop! Why do you always, every time there is someone without teeth, like it's a skull or like an old guy without teeth, you're thinking, how can I fuck this? You would not believe. Like, I have to mark this as explicit on Spotify as a result of mostly Torah.
I thought it was from all the cum guzzling cunt fucking we do.
Yeah, that too. But oh baby, there's one person who's the source of that. It's Torah. And
where do you make them roll every time for
it?
Yeah,
that's the reason I think we haven't hit it off into the mainstream yet. You know, we haven't got a subreddit set up or anything. I think it's because of that explicit rating. We're not hitting that mainstream audience because of you, Og. I'm blaming you personally.
You can't say mean things on Reddit. That's true.
Blame me, not the pornography writer.
Yeah, hey, don't bring that up here. Anyway, you guys get towards the scriptorium. It is it's not a fortress. It is fortified, if that makes sense. It's quite hard to tell what it is because you guys are quite unfamiliar with the local culture, but it looks probably similar to some of the buildings in Redeem were before they were destroyed, with sort of large sandstone walls, with quite domed roofs, all that kind of thing. As you ride in through this sort of central gate, you feel the guards on the parapet watching you. As you come into the courtyard, you notice there are quite a few sort of armed figures here. They all seem to be some of them are wounded. You see a few people sort of nursing leg injuries, a few people having their eyes bandaged, that kind of thing. Most of them seem armed as you would expect for these desert dwellers, sort of lasloks. There's a few actual las guns here and there. One person has a chainsword, but that's about it. These are not well armed or armored people. You also see quite a few figures in sort of quite muted grey robes who all seem to be quite elderly with sort of long grey beards, and they wander sort of through the crowd, sort of tending people, but also kind of hurrying around doing their work, whatever that is. They do seem to be in quite a rush though. Falahadad dismounts his horse, quickly tying it up. It's sort of an improvised stable here. Inside the courtyard, you see there are quite a few horses and camels here, which are obviously separate from the horses. It's a little camp within this strange sort of temple-like structure. He turns to you and says, "Here, come with me upstairs and it'll be a little bit cooler." He opens a door in the side of the fortress, and do you follow him?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll walk through here. It is a sort of mess of winding passages, but eventually you feel like you're going upwards. Eventually you find yourself in a great domed room, the inside surface of which is scrawled with tiny, tiny pockets of light which are piercing through onto the sandy floor beneath. It almost looks like they are stars. There is a large round table in the middle of it, upon which are scattered what looks like the drawings and scrawlings of a madman. There are maps, there are charts, there is mathematical equations that you would be able to solve in an instant, Amelia, but the people here are without tools. It seems to be some kind of almost ancient laboratory. The elderly man takes a seat and sort of offers for you all to do so. A few of the scholars who are here kind of collect their maps and such and sort of go off to the corners of the room. Corners of the room. It's a round room. They go off to the sides. After you take your seat,
corners of the room and explode.
They just keep going round. It's terrible.
Is there any sense to this stuff or not at all?
It seems to be. Actually, no. Give me an.
Logic test?
I think this would be logic again. We're getting 2 in a row.
Cool.
Yeah.
My logic has got a 1 in it, and my intelligence is 50. It's surprising.
Make sure you're rolling it with intelligence with your big brain.
I am.
Yeah.
Jesus
That's a 95.
Christ.
That's also not a pass. Amelia, yeah, it doesn't make fucking sense to you. Like, maybe it's the handwriting. You're used to seeing this in very sort of regimented Martian script, but this is, it's handwritten notes. It's a mess. The elderly man takes a seat and he turns to you all and says, well, what would you like to know?
My understanding, this, the Blades of Vresh, they've effectively split off from what happened, correct?
He nods his head. He says, when you left, there was a split in the tribe. I, as much as it ashames me, fled in the chaos that ensued after their departure. The youths went off in search of glory, leaving the old and the young behind. We had to do what we could to save the tribe.
Sounds like he survived.
What was that, sorry?
I was going to say, it sounds like he survived.
He did, yeah.
And from my understanding, they just seem to want to take control of the desert by force, and those who don't survive will die, and those who are strong will join.
He nods and said that the tribes have fought and have always fought. It is never outright war. There is bloodshed, there is fighting, there is dueling, but never on this scale, particularly without using the weaponry of the Skyfallen, which I'm sure you're all familiar with, being Skyfallen yourselves. The Blades, in my opinion, go against the ways of the desert. Whilst the tribes have fought, there is a careful balance between the animals here, the water here, and the tribes. Between the tribes, there is the most precarious of balances of all. No one is more powerful than the other. We each have our territories. We each meet to trade as much as we do to fight. I worry what the Blades will do once they have taken this desert. The balance of the desert of the Burnt Kings will tip. Where do they go outside of here? Do they go to the north, into the plush grasslands? Where else do they go? It would be untold slaughter, and I'm glad I will not live to see it.
Well, yeah, very much. Where does it end?
He kind of gives you quite a sad shrug.
They claim to only want the desert, but it would be only for their people.
The Blades are formed, as far as I can tell, from those of many tribes. Majority were from Mutalali, but I've heard they've...
Right, but only for those they deem worthy to follow them.
He nods his head and says, yes, that seems so. I doubt they would take an old man like me.
Who have they taken?
The young, those who will fight, who have a lust for blood and glory in their hearts. Men and women have this in their youth. I'm sure every person goes through it, but most grow out of it. These indulgences are a petty thing.
Shoot a glance towards Tora.
He's actually chewing on a compass.
Yeah. Most grow out of these things or have more safe outlets.
Got any rats to smoke?
We don't smoke rats here.
Got any rats?
There's a lot of paper around. There is no open flames in this building. They take the young.
Sort of quietly to the lighter. He was about to.
He put that stuff away. He explains that the blades kind of take people with these urges of the things that would usually have outlets in sort of tribal sporting fights is now being, instead of dealt with through these more sort of peaceful outlets, are now being encouraged and unified.
They also have some relics, as they say. But is there anything else, any other power they've obtained that you know of? In any sense, it almost seems like maybe we're wrong, but that Vresh is someone they can reach, not just a heavenly figure.
A few of the scholars in the sides of the room sort of murmur at this and says, Falahadad says, "This is not my home, this scriptorium. This is where the Watchers of Vresh live. It is here that scholars and wise men come and they study the falling of Vresh's gifts. We try and plan where the next ones will arrive so that we can claim them. There are great bounties, great weapons that are bestowed upon Vresh. Vresh is in the heavens with the Emperor at his right side, as are his angels and all the rest of the myriad forces of the Emperor. The Skyfallen, like yourselves, are motes of dust born upon the stars. That is where Vresh is, at least to me and to the wise men here. Where the Blades think Vresh is I do not know."
So what they speak then is blasphemy to you.
He nods his head slowly and says, "Yes. Vresh is a saint of the Emperor. He is his friend, his strong sword arm beside him. But the Emperor is still there." He kind of he reaches into sort of his robes and kind of pulls out quite a battered worn Aquila. You remember one of the other traders you saw had this. It has been thumbed many times as if to kind of prove his allegiance to you. It is on a very gnarled string.
We know you are faithful. Our concern is with the blades. As you guys are preparing, you should know that they aim to come here next, though this is probably not much of a surprise for you.
He nods and says, "Yes, we have as many scouts as they do, I think, although perhaps older or younger. I'm tired of running. My legs cannot take it, and there are few places left to run anymore. I've not heard from Ishwala or Trelna. We've lost contact with them, but Skystarers is where we will make our stand. Vresh is still in the hearts, I believe, the Blades, as much as they scream his name as they're swinging their sabers. I do not believe they believe the same as I do. I do think, though, that they would hesitate to strike at not a holy place, but a place of honour and respect in our society here. Hence, we have fortified it in case they will."
Not from what they've told us.
Are they coming?
Didn't he just say they were?
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but he's...
Lothar's going to nod.
He kind of sighs quite solemnly. Says, "Very well. We will do what we can to intensify our preparations, but I fear it will not be enough."
Well,
I think I have something.
It's just one other. Is there a, regardless of if they Vresh this or that, the head of the Blades, is there someone or someone's stirring up the people? If they were gone, would it end or would it continue?
I do not know. My experience with the Blades has been limited. Those we have spoken to say they answered to Vresh. Other than that, I do not know if there was one instigator, one person that they were all rallying against, or for, rather.
Well, Said both are like it's all what to do, how to best help the most people, but I say we make a show and force their strongest out.
I think you're right. I think we've got to give the people here a fighting chance. And Lothar is going to try and gesture as wildly as he can over to whichever corner of the circle room that the scholars have gone over to.
Yep.
They grab fresh paper and pens or quills or whatever they've got.
Yeah.
And Lothar's going to pull out his copy of the primer.
Awesome. Yeah, I think they get out some more of this paper. Where they've got paper from in the desert, you're not sure, but they carry it with a great sense of reverence as they put it onto the table ahead of you.
Well, they clearly get it as they strip the flesh off of the dead and use it
obviously.
as paper.
Yeah.
Understandable.
They're not barbarians.
No.
Lothar is going to open up to certain passages where in the primer it goes into how to build proper entrenchments, how to build traps, how to do this, how to do that. So copy these down, show it to everyone here, and prepare.
I think one of the younger of the elders, the youngest of these scribes is still ancient. He frantically copies it down. Another scribe does the same. They're copying down proper entrenchments. They're copying down booby traps, all this kind of thing. Falahadad sort of stands and looks at your plans and says, what we truly need is more. We have 36 fighters here with horses and camels alongside 20 children. That is all. We have enough armament for all of them, but in face of the blades, it is nothing.
Sounds like it's time for our squad to get tested.
Sounds like you're right.
Let's call driver down. Get him driving.
I do not wish to press the children into war, but if it is what is needed to be done, then so be it. With them, we would have perhaps 56.
I think it's appropriate to bring children to war, similar to what happened to me. And look at how well I turned out.
I can absolutely tell that.
Won't be necessary as long as we can. As long as we have the time to set things up. Speak on our end.
Perhaps others from the other tribes would help us, but we've been in fear to reach them. We send out scouts, but we cannot afford to lose any more. They do not come back.
What about the tribe from the sky?
Well, that is you, Skyfallen. Yes.
Yeah, no, but what? Yeah, good.
Good. We're on the same page, he says, and kind of points at the metaphorical page ahead of you all.
Oh, I'm really sorry. I'm not that great on the reading.
That's fine.
Wait, you're a group of enlightened monks, are you?
One of the scholars turns to you and says, "Well, less monks, less Skyfallen, more. We prefer scholars." We're...
All right. Well, look, I've lost some pages from this very important book. Do you happen to have a copy of it in your vast library that you can be?
What is
be relevant to the desert?
What is it you have lost? The younger one says, stopping his drawing of the booby trap.
I've lost the aquatic part of my book of killing things.
Oh,
the desert's like an ocean with its life underground.
No truer words have ever been spoken.
Sorry. Most oceans become deserts over time.
What I hate is that he's right.
We do not have any books on such things, but we have a small selection of artifacts and fossils we have found. We believe some of those were once waterborne. Would that be of any use to you?
All right. Not really. How about old Funnerux colouring in sheets?
And there is a murmured hush from the scholars, and one of the elder ones heads off into a back room. After a while, he very reverentially unwraps not a colouring in sheet, but a Fudderuk's drive-through menu, which he lays in a place of honor on the center of the table.
Tora bows deeply and respectfully, and then makes the sign of Aquila across his chest.
They all do so.
You make the sign of the fudder.
It's
in the name of the fudder and the rackets.
It's just, for those of you listening at home, Critter and I just did it as if you're trying to bite into a burger. Like, that's the sign of the Fudderuk.
That's
oh stupid.
And the bond of fudder. What we do is cup, and you go. One person does that, and another person does that. And you go up and go, nom.
It's lovely. Oh,
no, wouldn't it be like, yeah, you make
I can't
the
wait for you to
burger
pick
and then
me
you
up to the
stack your
airport,
hands.
So they've got that. You fucking.
You boys, if we get out of this situation, I will get you out of this shitty stick in the mud situation. If you copy that manuscript for me, that's very important to me.
The younger scribe says, "Yes, Tora, we will do so," and he takes it off to a back room to do your perverted request.
Okay, all right, boys, we're calling everyone.
I hate the fact that now you're going to get an illuminated drive-through menu. That's the least favorite part of this whole thing for me.
So what would you like to do? Yeah,
slap Tora upside the head for getting the drive-through menu.
Lothar, you can whatever preparations you think are necessary, I'll leave in your hands. But obviously, we need some additional firepower.
I hand the
shock and awe.
I hand the Vox then to Amelia and said, "Okay, I have work to do. Then I'm going to leave this with you."
I was going to go heal the injured.
I'm going to look at Tora.
No. When as Lothar's distracted, so Lothar's want to hand the phone over to Tora. He's probably pouring the manuscripts. Tora would like to grab the Voxcaster.
Okay.
Absolutely. I think as soon as Lothar realizes, oh no, the only one left is Tora, he would have gotten it.
I will have time to use it.
Yeah.
Tora hits redial.
Okay.
It's the only button other than on.
Yeah.
No, if anything, we could while you fuck it. Do we care? These people have seen us do all this sort of stuff. We could just.
They don't know how special a Skyfallen we are. So, but out of character, I'm saying that it might be a good idea to have that as a private conversation.
Yeah.
I was going to say, because we could just do it here while you're writing stuff down.
So before we do the wonderful phone call with Tora and Dad, so Lothar, you're going over like sort of trench emplacements that could be dug around the scriptorium or this kind of thing.
Yes, and I would be taking.
If you can't,
I'd be taking with permission one of the gray robes to go around with, so that I'm not then seen by the scouts and stuff like that. That I'm sure the Blades have out this way.
Yeah, awesome.
Okay, where we saw them at Kuat's Crossing, right?
That was where they seem to be fortified a little bit.
Okay. So look, if we set up a gun emplacement here.
No, do not draw a penis on my man. I swear to God. Stop it. Stop it. So whilst Lothar's going over the tactics, Amelia, you're going down to sort of help with the wounded?
I mean, knowing that the Voxcaster is going to be handed to Tora, she's going to join that conversation first.
Probably a good idea.
And then go down.
Yeah.
That is a good call.
Like, you ever seen those videos of like the 3-year-olds that pick up their mum's phone while they're filming? It's like,
I pictured that one Vine of that kid running around. He goes, "What do you got there?" He's like, "A knife."
Yeah.
That's what I pictured you in the Voxcast.
Yeah.
Lothar thinks the Voxcast has been handed to Amelia until Tora rings the phone.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you guys sort of walk out of the tactical chamber here, and yeah, I think you ring, and then after a moment you hear the familiar voice going, "Hello."
Dad.
Oh,
it's me.
Oh, hello, Tora.
And Amelia.
Oh, hello.
We promised Lothar's not dead.
Yeah, that was going to be my second question. After, how are you doing?
All right.
We're good. How many guns do we have?
That's quite a big What do you mean we? As in?
Oh, good, big guns.
Lane, how do we address? Are we supposed to address him as Inquisitor?
You call him what you want. How he will react will change.
I have to kill this dog.
Oh no,
like Inquisitor Lane or whatever.
You can call him Lane.
Bitch boy.
Yeah, Papa.
We've discovered the old tribe that once helped us fight, and we're looking to make a show against the Blades to call out their strongest members and finally solve this situation. As such, we need some shock and awe, and we were thinking perhaps it's time for our new stormtroopers to see some action.
He presses a few buttons, and then your data slate pings Amelia as he resends you a file. I will remind you all, you have some available assets now as Throne agents. You can use these as you see fit. You are in command of these, not me. Further stuff can be requisitioned, but I'm unlikely to give it because I'm a stingy bastard.
Well, does the Stormtrooper platoon include our guys?
Yeah, so you got like 5 guys. Oh no, I think you got 4 people.
That's a different burger chain. How dare you?
Yeah,
I cannot recall.
So you got 4 people who were split between the 2 existing squads to make up a full platoon of 20, who are generally divided into 2 squads, one in each Valkyrie. You've also got 3. Well, you've got 2 fighter craft and then 1 ground attack aircraft.
I say we definitely know that they have some anti-air, so if we're gonna come in with air, we need something to knock that out or prevent it quickly. So there's an anti-ground.
You have a ground attack craft, but again, it's flying, so anti-air would be a difficulty.
Air superiority. They don't have air to worry about taking out.
They do not have any
that we know of.
No, not you're aware of. Now, so basically, you've got, in terms of the aircraft, you've got a ground attack craft. So this is low orbit, high speed. Basically, it's an AC-130. It will bomb the shit out of, or shoot the shit out of a armored column or an area. You've got 2 fighters, which are both good at dogfighting, but also can be used in a ground attack role. They've got HE and incendiary missiles. You've also got 2 Valkyries, which are transports, but they can be used in an offensive role. They are armed with Hellstrike missiles, which are high explosive, alongside some heavy bolters and multi-lasers. But they are generally used in a transport capacity.
If we take the Stormtroopers, and they would need both transports, if I'm understanding correctly.
So, the Stormtroopers can deploy in 2 ways. Either you have them come in with Valkyries, which means you can tell them exactly where to drop, and the pilots will try and land there even under fire. Alternatively, you can have them halo drop in, which is basically they will jump in from high orbit and be pretty close to where you're going, but there is, they'll be as close as they can be, but there is no risk of them being.
Well, if they drop in from high orbit, is that individual pods like Halo, ODST stuff?
It is more, think more paratrooper, as in you have ridden in one of these. They come in grav chute, so they will jump out of a Valkyrie in very high orbit, and then.
I've got to go poop, so I'm going to mute myself.
Okay, thanks for telling us. Go poop. You will come in.
Says on the cast.
Yeah. No worries, Tora. Big love. But yeah, so basically they could come in either in the Valkyries, as in fly in and land, or jump in.
My judgment would be bring the Valkyries, bring the Troopers, and bring the AC-130, because that's going to need to blow up wherever the fuck any anti-air is.
Okay.
You start out with just, gunning down whatever anti-air they can see, and then the Valkyrie come in. That would be my suggestion. That's what I would ask for.
So Lane's tactical advice. Bear in mind, if you lose any of these, you're getting them back yourself. So don't lose them. Perhaps speaking with, no offense, Amelia, but speaking to Lothar, perhaps tactical advice. He's probably been in battlefields with these kind of aircrafts before. If you're planning on fighting a battle, I would defer to our dear guardsman friend. Perhaps over Tora instead.
Tora grabbed the phone.
Oh, I understand.
But yeah, I just tapped the beat and just relay Lothar, we need a minute of your time.
Yeah, 1 second. Give me make sure you've got those perfect right there. Sorry, what's going on?
Just mention, I remind you of the same document here of the things we have available to us, and we're just going over about how to actually deploy. My thought was re-explain what I was talking about.
Right. Well, my gut's telling me that if they're 200 strong, that they're relying on their numbers to overwhelm here. They probably have a couple of anti-air vehicles and things like that. That Hydra empty bit that we found. So whatever we want to do. Hold on, let me check the data slate. An Avenger, huh? Okay. Right, here's what I would do. We want something to knock out from a distance, ideally. Some of the things that could be anti-air. Probably having the Avenger around here. And
using aircraft to deal with anti-air is not always a good idea.
No, you're right. Voice in my head, but at the same time, it's
I'm going to go now.
My problem with, like, if we drop the troops in rather than use the thing, like, I feel like they're just going to be floating in the air to get shot up too.
So they come down hard and fast. Like they will literally.
Still going to have flak shots or whatever. Like,
yeah, absolutely.
Shot out of the sky.
But there are a lot smaller targets and they're a lot faster than just a Valkyrie coming in. That's the whole. And as well, like, sure, if you hit one of them, you hit one of them, but you don't hit an entire 10-man team with Valkyrie. Yeah.
That's what I was going to say. Is it survivability-wise as well as shock and awe-wise? If we had 20 pods coming down, it's going to be very hard for them to hit them on the way in, even with a Hydra.
So as well, in terms of Halo deployment, I'll point out these aren't drop pods. These are unarmored. It's literally a guy with a grav chute on. Think more jumping out of a plane with a tiny jetpack on than it is. It's how you guys deployed the Lamentum Canticum, if you remember. You jumped out the back of a Valkyrie in high orbit.
Right.
And you don't have any armor. You were just going fucking head first, and then you deployed a grav chute, which stops you from breaking your legs when you land. But if it deploys at the right point.
Right. So then if that's the case, it might be better. We've really got to... I mean, we can't do this with, like, guns blazing the whole way down here. It would have to be... I mean, we'd have to almost ambush them on the way in here.
I mean, they could drop in behind. I mean, that's a question, like, how much do you actually want to deploy?
Think
it's up to you guys. The Skystarers Scriptorium is fortified, but it is kind of in a valley, so it's not the most defensible of locations. Obviously, you can be offensive on this. You could lay a trap for them. It's completely up to you. You've got the whole desert to play with. What you don't know is, well, you do vaguely know where they're going next, but beyond that, you're not really sure what their armament or equipment is.
What their approach is going to be,
yeah.
I think before we commit anything just yet, have the stormtroopers at the ready. We're going to need them. I think at the same token here, at the same time, let's see about at least spooling up. Let's at least spool up the Avenger there and see what we can do with it. My gut tells me that we are probably going to be approaching this as carefully as possible, especially when they have numerical superiority. We got to hit them and have them not know where we are. So that's my take on it. But I think that's going to be made even easier when they eventually approach this position, because then we can hit them from the other sides. They're not going to know what hit them in the first place. It's going to scare some of them off, especially if it's something coming from the sky. So, which will then absolutely force out some of their stronger things. That's my take.
Cool.
I've got to keep helping out here really quick.
I think the scholars like helping a guy kind of measure out a trench. That would be a good position. That sort of thing.
Yeah. That looks good. Sorry guys, hold on. That looks good.
Lovely. So basically everything can be ready. So just let me know what you want, where and when. You will be able to connect directly to the pilots as they tell you exactly, what they're capable of. But all of these can be requisitioned. We could, if you told me now, I could have these deployed within 20 minutes.
Well, so I guess then we're saying have everything ready, but not necessarily sending it all.
So you finished a phone call with Lane. What is the plan now?
Dead air.
Yeah.
I think we have the air superiority. Maybe I take a crack team of myself, Slicey, and Stabby. Hydroflect tank.
Well, I think we had confirmation they had at least one, but there could be more.
You
find their vehicle.
You know for sure they have at least one that was taken from Redeem. You've not heard of them having any more though. Could have a Baneblade for all you know.
I think would be a cause for concern. Boss fight against a Lehman Russ tank is more likely on the table, I suspect.
Oh, like a looted Russ, yeah, possibly.
Look at this fucking idiot's grin. Look at his grin. Look at that. It's gonna peer in closer. Every passing day, I become more and more like her.
So what's the plan then? So yeah, you're slowly fortifying the scriptorium. Lane's basically said all the stuff is ready to deploy whenever you want it. Just give him the shout. But like, if you lose it, you lose it. You know, if you call down a bunch of shit and it gets shot down by flak tanks, that's it. You ain't getting that back.
Do we have to go? We go back to the Scholar to root more people, and
you have to go to the
and Commissar Kroll.
Yeah, you have to go to the gunship shop to get another Avenger Strike Craft.
I wonder if Yurt's got one.
Yeah, probably in the back. You know,
I almost am guaranteeing that he's got one.
Well,
so yeah.
Why don't get these guys fortified? Go back to where we know some of them are. All the fuck out of them. We give them a chance. We go, hey, look, they've come to accept, and we have found your Marines wanting, and go, hit it, boys, and AC-130, the tower.
We still need to clear the anti-air before we send in air.
Well, why don't we go back and then we have a look at the camp itself now that we've proven ourselves, and get a better sense of what's going on, and then be like, we have found you wanting, because we know roughly they're between 200 to 300, and that camp did not look big enough to support all of them. If I remember what God was telling us.
Yes.
So instead of letting them kind of mass their forces and get ready, why don't we strike them while the iron is cold? Sorry, there's another dog I have to. Come here, dog. Come here, dog.
Og is talking to his dog in real life, who is terrified of his Torah fights for good reason. There's a genetic memory associated with that, which the dog is quaking in fear with. But yeah, like I quite like that idea of like. So your plan then is to go back to Quartz Crossing, go to the Blades and say, "Hey, yeah, we scouted it. Can we have a look around your camp, please?" You hope they say yes, and then you push over the Hydra flak tank and then fuck off.
That sounds like a play to me.
Well, I am a master. I don't think you've quite seen my skills of stealth and stealth-related accessories before. Myself as a master of it, as it were. And why don't we go back under cover of night and see what we can find?
I think that's a. Oh wait, am I with you guys right now, or am I still building things?
I mean, microbeads. You guys can all talk.
This is over the microbeads.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Like Tora's looking at a menu. Immediate's healing up some wounded fighters. Lothar's helping build a trench. You know, you're all chatting.
Tora's sitting in the kennel with the hunting dog. Just think about it.
Yeah.
It's the implication more than anything else.
Yeah.
I mean, they wanted us to scout the place out or whatever. All we had to do is come back with information, true or not, I suppose. That's the trouble with this part anyway, is what are they going to believe us if we say, oh yeah, no one's there, which obviously I would imagine they know more than that, but like, oh, there's only this or that, or oh, there's a lot of them, but like, what are they going to believe? To actually accept us and like let us in like we asked.
Well, they value having like sorry, I was gonna say like they value having like a good.
Please, no,
oh yeah, no, sorry, yeah. No, you're absolutely right. I'm sorry, after yourself.
No, please,
no, please, no, thank you. So what I was gonna say was that,
no, really,
this is quality listening experience here at Occupod Studios. I hope you're enjoying it.
You guys have no idea how hard it is to talk and then also build a trench. Just saying.
I can build a trench while talking, I can tell you that
much. God damn it. No, so the thing I was going to say was that, now I've gone and forgot. So
yeah. You were talking about scouting and what they would believe in terms of numbers.
Oh yeah, they need to know that they're going to have their metal tested and have a fight, basically, and that there's going to be strong ones that they can try and get out of this, right? If we say that there's a whole bunch of like, it's a few of their finest warriors, right? Like maybe that will be like, yes, we have some contest to us or something. I mean, if we try to scare them with what's not actually there and knowing they've got scouts, they're going to call that out.
The other problem is if they just say, thanks for the information and give us nothing in return. Like, there's no, like, guarantee of anything on their side.
Well, no, that's true. But, like, we also gave them things. So maybe we get another, the one idea there that was put out there, I think, by Og, and I don't think it was on or off camera yet, but that what if we sent them another care package, but this time it's poison, and some kind of a slow acting thing, like, I don't know, we give them a bunch of cheese and we find out they're all lactose intolerant or something.
That'll show them.
I wouldn't hold a rifle if I had to poop. Just saying.
I'm not. That's an unreliable idea.
You're right, but it at least gets our foot in the door to, like, if we give them another thing, like, yes, we welcome you into our fold, that kind of thing. And say, well, we can help.
They valued strength more than food.
Well, it turns out that food can create strength.
Yeah, but what I'm saying, they have enough, I would imagine, already.
Oh, true. I guess that's true.
I feel like in a resource insecure area such as the middle of a fucking desert, supplies are always appreciated.
Yeah, no, he's got a point. They might be all right with having a little bit of extra.
But the last we gave, we're going to a specific destination. It's not like we give them poison food and then all their troops are going to eat it and be unable to fight the next day or whatever. Like, and I just don't think that's what's going to happen.
Well, but that's why we sabotage more than one thing, right? Like, that would give us more options.
I have a question for you, Amelia.
Yeah.
When it comes to it, if the blades are also made up of children, are you gonna be weird about it, like you've been weird about every other thing so far?
You killed an innocent person. There's a difference.
Well, I would like the receipts on that one there, champ.
Okay, how was anybody harmed?
By an unsanctioned witch? Oh yeah, wonder how anyone could be harmed.
We were all unharmed.
My ears hurt.
What?
My ears really hurt. It was real loud.
Okay, that's not an excuse to start killing people.
What do you do when you come... Sorry, fuck.
Don't do his voice if it will hurt you, Og. I don't want you killing yourself for this podcast.
What does the guard do? What does the guard do when it comes across an unsanctioned psycho?
I don't know.
I'm almost positive that that's a question for me. Well, if there's a way to at least document and capture, like if, I don't know, we come across one in the homeworld there, that way the black ship can come by and pick it up. But if we find one on the battlefield, we tend to kill it.
And one that is manifested strong evil energy.
That's above my pay grade.
Yeah.
They
manifested some energy, sure. It wasn't.
So what's?
I think you need to talk to Banisher Boy. Get a better sense of. Outside of your Martian
moral quandary aside.
Yeah, as well. I'm a doctor. What do I do when I encounter a problem? I intend to fix it, not just kill it. Not kill the person, perhaps kill the disease.
You want to open a portal to a disease dimension? You let unfunctioned psychers run around, then you'll have plenty of disease.
So moral quandaries aside, what is the plan of action then? I'm going to say it's around midday. You're in the scriptorium.
I think we go back either way. Do we overstate or do we understate what the capacity of this? I think that go back, understate the kind of resistance they would see, and then worst comes to worse, they expect less of a fight, and are instead met with trenches full of elite trained stormtroopers, and trenches with elite trained stormtroopers, Lothar sniping from the rooftops, and me, Dora, with air support, and then we can also go back, have a better sense of like what's going on in that camp.
I mean,
like information
and if they capture. Like, that's the other part.
They capture us?
Yeah, two people going back to say this or that. They get the information they want. They've got no reason to really care anymore. They could capture us and, hey, yeah, bring down more food. Sure. You know, like, they're not weak.
They capture us with death and destruction.
Okay, Lothar's going to have the Voxcaster, not us.
You're darn right I'm going to.
They didn't see Lothar last time. We keep it the same way.
That's fair. That way I can call it in if you guys get captured. Just come up, I guess, with a word to say with leaving your microbeads open like last time.
Hey, I'm captured.
Yeah, that would work.
So Lothar is going to stay in a sniping position. Tora's going to hang back. Tora's going to go in with Amelia and say, basically, we've scouted it. There's not that many people there. Hit it soon.
Well, we wanted to say hit it soon.
Oh, no. But, yeah, cool. And then you might be allowed a little poke around the camp before politely being told to fuck off.
Well, the whole point was we wanted to, like, get in with them. So, like, it's not our trial done. Can we not, join the tribe, so to say?
You can certainly ask. Cool. So, in terms of transport, that was last day. So I will make you roll again to go back to Quartz Crossing of an evening. Yeah, so are you doing the same Outrider thing? In that case, could I get a driving test, please, from Amelia? A operate surface test, please, followed by a lovely D100. And I'll check on Warwick's big table of desert shenanigans to see what hell ensues on your way back to Quartz Crossing. Cool, that is a 51. Operate with 1 degree of success, and then give me a big fat D-Hunter. 27. Okay, cool. As you drive, I think buried in a route that you didn't quite take before, rising out of a patch of sandstone, there is a gnarled obelisk. You've seen similar structures before in the desert. You see various offerings are piled around the base of it. You notice a figure knelt in quiet prayer before it. It does not appear that they have noticed you. What would you like to do?
It looks like we've come across an obelisk.
Do they?
Oh no.
Do they look, have the red bandana or anything?
They are hunched over in their desert robes. You can't really see much of them.
I'm not really sure from here.
A shiny skeleton man.
They do not look like a shiny skeleton man, don't worry.
But it could be the infinite. We never know.
Oops, all flayed ones. Remember, you don't need to interact with everything.
I was gonna say,
Just some of these aren't going to be. Oh, look, here's a thing. It's like, hey, here's something. Do you want to interact with that?
Tora will dismount the centaur.
Cool. You dismount successfully.
Approaches with like hand on hilt of knife, but not like aggressive, like grippy way. Just like resting there.
Yeah. I take it. Yeah, you're not being particularly stealthy with this. Is anyone else joining? I think BGZ's staying on the heavy stubber.
I think Lothar would be hanging far out, just kind of eyeing the situation from afar.
Sure. And Amelia?
Stay in the car.
Cool. Engine on. Tora, as you walk closer, you notice a man, because it is a man, he seems to be praying. He kind of twitches a little bit and he kind of half turns around at you. You get the feeling he's noticed you, but he kind of goes back to his praying and continues. It is a standard imperial ecclesiastical prayer. Nothing outwardly heretical that you can tell. After a moment, he finishes his prayer. He kind of dusts himself off, stands up. He then picks up quite a gnarled walking stick alongside a bag of heavy belongings, which he puts over his back, and he kind of makes a strange gesture to you, as kind of like he bows his head. He's still quite too far away for you to really see much of his face, but he kind of gestures towards the obelisk and sort of nods politely at you.
Hail! How are you, champion?
I am well. How are you?
Oh, look, come see, come fucking saw, buddy. What you doing all the way out here, huh?
Well, I live here.
And, like, in the obelisk?
No, the desert. This is my home. You were clearly Skyfall. I was praying.
How could you tell? Womp, 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 womp.
He looks you over and just kind of. You can't see much from. He's got very heavy robes on, like more suited for a sandstorm than the kind of nice weather that you've got today. All you can really see are his eyes, one of which is quite grey and cloudy. He just kind of looks at you, and you get a feeling that he's like, "You're fucking clearly Skyfall, Tora."
What's your name? Asterix?
It's Alsavi, actually, but yes.
Okay, Asterix. What's all this about then, huh?
It's for the Emperor.
He kind of gestures to the obelisk. Alongside the prayers that the other ones had, this one's actually got quite a cool mural of like the Emperor up in heaven, fucking like casting rays of light down upon the desert, and it's the sickest fucking bit of religious art you've seen. It is old as balls.
And it says Emperor on it, not Thresh.
Yeah. Every mention of the Emperor is there.
It's like, all hail the Emperor.
Throws the lazy sign of the Aquila.
It gives you a very, very good sign of the Aquila back. You can see that his hands are covered in gloves.
To do an even better sign of the Aquila, but fails.
Okay, yeah, you don't. You get your thumbs caught really weird, and you end up throwing up a sign to the Wu-Tang Clan.
What's Lothar? You're a Catholic. The something milk.
Yeah,
milk
the
lemonade.
Nina, the Pinta, the Santa Maria. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, but the children's version
milk,
of it.
Milk lemonade, round the corner's chocolate made.
Yeah, milk lemonade.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's what they taught.
That's the one. That's the one.
Thanks, Jesus. But yeah, the man is dressed quite heavily for the desert. He's quite thin, even within his quite heavy robes. But yeah, he explains that he's praying at the obelisk.
You live here just outside.
Like we're about what, half a day's travel between?
Yeah, between Quartz Crossing and Skystarers. Yeah.
Yeah. You seem like a spiritual man. What do you think of those people that go stare at the sky, whatever they're called?
Those at the Skystarers Scriptorium. Well, I've never been in myself, but it is a good place of good noble people. With those seeking to understand Vresh are amongst the highest.
Yeah, and what about those other disciples of Vresh, the Blades?
He kind of shrugs and says, "They don't bother me. They've never seen me, and
I've no issue with them.
But have you seen them?
Yes, of course. Al-Savi keeps Al-Savi to himself, but I try and stay out of people's way.
I thought you're a very clever man, Asterix.
He nods his head slowly.
What, as kind of like as a man on the ground of it all, what do you reckon the desert's opinion if all the Blades of Thresh were, accidentally killed or something like that?
Accidentally, what was that, sorry?
Accidentally killed.
Well, he kind of thins his one good eye at you and says, "What do you mean accidentally killed, Skyfall?"
Well, I mean accidentally killed by my knife.
Oh, yeah. No skin off my balls, I say.
That's good. They've taken the skin off your balls, you say?
No, that's... No, I mean, it will be no big loss to the desert. Those who have those kind of impulses will be drawn to each other and they will destroy each other. But I stay out of it all. My loyalty is to myself and the desert.
I like the way you think.
Thank you.
I'd like to offer him a refill of his canteen from my water canteen, and then continue onwards.
As you open up your water canteen, he raises one hand to you and says, "Respectfully, I decline your offer, but thank you, Skyfallen."
But you don't think my piss water is good enough for you?
No, it is for your own good, Skyfallen.
What do you mean?
He pulls down his the lower side of his headscarf to reveal his face is knotted and matted with awful looking sort of scars and scabs, and he is a diseased man. He does not look well.
Oh, you're one of them jumping people.
He lets out a rare laugh and said, I suppose I am, Skyfall.
Well, I'd shake your hand, but it would probably fall off. See you on the flip side, Asterix.
He gives you a thumbs up, and as you do so, you notice his little finger is missing. He says, "You take care now, Skyfall, and good meeting you."
I said nice to see you, Asterix.
Or saunters back over to the centaur.
Drive. Fuck out of here.
Sounds like you made a friend.
Nice. So yeah, you guys continue towards Quartz Crossing, leaving Asavi by himself as he sort of gives you another wave, a four-fingered wave as you head off.
I love watching your face when I said that.
Little leaper, fucking awful. Yeah, you guys reach Quartz Crossing. I'm going to say it's about 5 p.m. The sun is setting on this lovely desert evening here. Same setup as before. BGZ in the vehicle, Lothar set up, and the boys, Tora and Amelia, swagger walking down the dune towards them. As you do so again, the same cry goes out, and the same sort of group of guards actually come out, and the scout approaches you, says, "Hail, Skyfallen." Your ways are strange to me, Skyfallen.
That's what your mom said. No, it doesn't say that.
There's a real weird energy from Ogg today. It's very hostile almost. I'm loving it. Go. Yes, he's greeted you. Quartz Crossing.
We return from the Skystarers.
And what news
we
do you
return
have
from the Sky mission for the Skyfallen Sky mission of Sky Scouting, the Skystarers Scriptorium.
And what did you learn there?
Bunch of old men with guns.
Oh, how many?
Now,
the guy said there was 36 people who were able to fight capably with horses, guns, and the like, plus 20 children.
We saw about hard to tell because they weren't the super chuffed to see us roll up, but I would say we saw in the flesh at least 8, and would assume with the amount of kind of like horses and resources we saw nearby, between 10 to 15 in total. There were some kids' toys out there, so there's definitely some good eating. And I would say maybe like another, maybe 15 to 20 children. Seems like a lot of the older men of the desert. A lot of the men of the desert are either dead or here, and there's groups of roaming children about the place. So I would assume a 2-to-1 ratio.
He smiles and sort of smiles quite appraisingly at you and says, "Thank you, Skyfaller. This is fantastic to know. Now tell me, what can the Blades of Vresh do for you? We value honor here. You have done a good deed for us, and if it's only right, it is returned."
Well, as my boss here, Amelia, says, I want to understand a bit more about you. If you would not mind breaking unleavened bread with you.
Yes, of course. Why don't you two come and sit by our fire for a while? Lovely.
We're gonna follow.
Okay with this?
Cool. He remounts his horse. He's only got one, and the 3 guards sort of trot back to camp with you following behind. He then dismounts once he's, tied up his horse. He walks over to you, and
Release
he kind
Amelia's
of
spy drone first.
Ooh, he kind of he's kind of pointing out the camp to you in kind of like he's giving you a tour, but he's doing it in quite like a prideful way. He's kind of pointing out the tower. He's sort of saying how it's of ancient construction, but now it's been repurposed for Vresh's strength. It does seem to be sort of repurposed into some kind of observation post. There is a kind of telescope that's been set up on the top of it, ancient by Imperial Guard standards, but seems to be working at least. There are quite a few tents which are kind of hidden behind the rise of the tower. You reckon there is probably about enough room for about 40 to 50 soldiers here. The main event, if you will, is dug behind the tower into a pit, which you saw being dug a couple of days ago, is a hidden position for the Hydra flak battery. Some sort of tan netting has been rolled out over the top of it, making it quite hard to see from the air, but it is in a good sort of solid position. They've reinforced this with sandbags. You kind of see that there is sort of an ammunition storage, which is very close by to it, containing a lot of fucking APHE ammo. As you walk towards the sort of more communal areas, towards the tents, there are several fires here, and the man takes a seat. There's a few other of the blades here. All of them are, sort of men. There's a few women, not too many, all wearing these sort of red headscarves, and all of them have this V carved into their foreheads, though none as ornate as the guard who's been accompanying you, with his extra sort of adornments. He kind of reaches into his pack and tears open a ration pack, which obviously says Vresh food on it, and he kind of breaks it open to you and tosses it into a pot in the middle of the fire, where it's being turned into a very sort of nutritious looking hearty broth. After some time, he grabs a ladle from a passing blade and spoons out a bowl for each of you. He drinks it heartily. Says, "Now, how can I help?"
What if, hypothetically, wanted you to join him in the sky? How do you feel the Blades would react to a proposal such as that?
As if we were to join Vresh up in the sky.
And the internal conflict in the Emperor's good name.
Well, that he kind of chuckles to you and says, "Well, that is what we're trying to do. We will join Vresh in the stars and continue his fight there."
Interesting.
Who is his fight with?
Those who Vresh tells us to fight, the weak. Those who shall not be brought upon us shall be brought with the sword.
Had Lane come down with his Imperial Guard coat, pretending to be Vresh.
Warning, fuckers! Bad news.
War's over.
War's over. Sack it in. But he explains that their goal seems to be go up and join Vresh.
What if Tora turns to Amelia and says under it, I was like, well, what have we brought him with us?
I get where you're going with that, but I don't think that's exactly what they mean. We're not just going to suddenly do what we want just because they're brought up.
I would say, in the greater bowels of a ship like the Ipcrest, there's a lot of room for everything. What if we picked him up and dropped him off somewhere on the way? There would be an Imperial Guard tight somewhere.
I think at this point, Lothar would pop in and say, I'm almost positive they would not get along with a Tithe going in. And for many, many reasons I'm not going to get into over a microbead.
Prison's hard. You enter prison and you get hazed. I just think the guard's quite a bit like prison, isn't it, Lothar?
Yeah, sometimes.
Tora's talking into his lapel.
Yeah. So the guy's kind of looking at you strangely.
Sorry, I'm just communing with this inside my own head.
He kind of narrows his eyes at you and says, "Right."
And how does Vresh tell you new information, or do you just discern it from relics you find?
Well, part of that is, like they do at the Skystarers scriptorium, how they predict where Vresh is. But we have the Oracle, and the Oracle tells us where Vresh has hidden his treasures, and we go there, and as Vresh predicts, and as the Oracle predicts, they are there.
So it's just a matter of finding new stuff, but otherwise, to prove your strength.
Yes, we prove our strength. We gather what we can, and hopefully one day we can use it to join Vresh in his crusade across the stars. Slurp your soup loudly.
This is some good broth. Great broth.
Thank you. Well, it's from your own, Vresh's own food stock, so it's quite the hit around camp, I can tell you.
Yeah, eat fresh is the tagline I quite like.
Eat fresh, just like
fresh.
Like we eat Jesus, right?
Yeah. So yeah, what were you going to ask me?
Very angrily.
I'm just thinking, like, out of character. It's like, okay, the idea of just shuttling up 200 people to the Ipcrest to probably just get shot and killed because they're not going to follow along with anything does save us the trouble of fighting, though.
Potentially.
Are you saying that out loud in
I
character?
said out of character.
Oh,
out of character,
I'm sorry. I'm trying to look up things about the Hydra in my copy of the uplifting primer.
Nice. So yeah, this guy does seem to say that basically they're gathering stuff under the command of someone called the Oracle. They're trying to gather what they can, gather the strongest from the desert, and then go find Vresh, basically.
My idea stands. What if we could assist you? As off-worlders, we understand the passage to the stars. What if we could assist you in joining Vresh in the stars?
That would be useful. You would be valued servants of Vresh, as we all are, but that would be amazing to continue his crusade against those who have wronged him in the stars with your help. Well, yes, absolutely.
Boys, I think we should take him with us.
I'm not so sure just yet. Have they explained anything yet about what Vresh is and the end goal of fighting in the stars?
And what is the end goal of any guardsman? To die in his service. I don't know how to. What if someone was to tell you that Thresh's enemies were endless in the stars, and that your fight would be eternal, grinding against the darkness, the thin grey sphere against the enemies of the of Vresh and the Imperium at large? Would you and your men still be so happy to throw yourself into this meat grinder?
Now, are you asking me or are you asking him? I need to clarify that.
I'm asking him.
Okay.
He looks at you strangely. He kind of narrows his eyes and says, why would we want to take the fight to the Imperium's enemies?
Have you not been reading your book on Vresh?
He laughs at you and says, why would we read books on Vresh? Vresh is the desert. Vresh is in our lifeblood. There is no book on Vresh.
Yeah, exactly. Well, Vresh, as you have seen by the Imperium Meritoriums, all of Vresh's material, Vresh is one with the Imperium is one with Vresh.
He shakes his head and kind of stands up. Says, perhaps once, but Vresh has told us that is no longer the case. Vresh's place is to take the sword to them.
The sword to the Imperium?
He nods slowly and places his hand on just the pommel of his chainsword.
Ooh.
Why is that an issue?
No issue. Just an interesting theological debate. What is the worship of Vresh if not to do it in his name?
In Vresh's name, yes.
Yes. You know what they say?
What does that mean? He says, slowly sitting back down.
Vresh. Like the supplies that came from the sky.
Yes. So, yeah.
Or you've got to know that you just did the jingle for McDacca's.
Sadly defunct and taken over by
Fudderucks. You're not allowed to say that.
Yeah.
There's an entire secret inquisition. There's the radicals and the purists and the fudderists. There's an entire sub-branch.
Get rid of the history of Macca's. Yeah.
Dedicated to get rid of the history of anyone that opposed Almighty Fudder.
That is the twist that Lane is actually not part of the Order Xenos after all this time. Order Fudder. Yeah, Order Fudderus. Oh god. So yeah, the Blade of Vresh has basically said, yeah, we don't fight for the Imperium, we only fight for Vresh.
An interesting time. I would like to learn more. I've had a different interpretation of Vresh from my own teaching. Could you enlighten me more?
He looks at you and says, if you wish to learn more of Vresh, then bring us more gifts from the Skyfall and perhaps something we can fight with, and then we will tell you more of Vresh.
What if we get Gunnar to load all of the magazines backwards, so when they shoot the guns, it shoots them?
That's not how las guns work. If we just put a big mirror.
Thank you, Sky. Fallen. Why are there all of these U-bends at the end of all of the guns?
Oh, God's sake. Yeah, so what's the plan? He's basically said, yeah, if you get me something fucking bring the Wrath of Vresh on our enemies, then yeah, I'll tell you more about him.
Well, they would like to see the Oracle at this point.
He turns to you and says, you are not seeing the Oracle.
Why not?
The Oracle is not to be seen by outsiders.
That's fair enough. I don't show everyone my butthole either. It's a very private secret thing. I understand where you're coming from.
That's very much not true.
I've only
Seconded.
shown upwards. Wait, does it count if you moon a hive world?
God's sake. Yeah, so basically, you ain't seen the Oracle.
So I've shown upwards of hundreds of billions of people my butthole.
God's sake. Ugh. As I say through gritted teeth, what would you guys like to do?
I think Lothar.
Tora breaks his leaven bread. Sorry, no, Lothar.
I was gonna say, Lothar said that you guys got to get out of there and at least try to sort out what the coordinates are exactly of that Hydra.
Already done.
Tora,
yeah,
good.
you guys know where this is.
and we've got the overlays, don't we? That Amelia could mark targets with and all of that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I think so.
Can Can we mark important structural targets and also use it as a way to get like a sense of the amount of numbers and stuff like that?
I'm gonna say no. Like you can't do like a phantom pain mark over people's head, but you could find coordinates and stuff.
Okay, cool. And then are we near the base of the tower?
Oh, yeah, I'd say fairly close. It's maybe like 20 meters away.
Yeah, Tora would like to just have a bit of a, just while he's sitting looking, he'd like to kind of look and see what kind of like structural weak points could be at the bottom of the tower.
It seems to be quite old sandstone. It is quite crumbly, and it is on a sandstone base basically. A few areas are a little bit crumbly around the corners, but the main sort of structural parts in the insides. Sorry, you can't see inside the tower because obviously there's people there. But there are a few holes in it which you can see have been braced up with quite heavy metal supports. So it does seem to be probably weaker towards the base. It is old as balls, and it's probably not as tough as the guy was kind of saying.
Mm-hmm.
Can I get in Hydra Flak up the stairs?
No.
So yeah, I mean at this point, like, okay, Warwick's obviously giving us the opportunity. You want to do your poison plan or not, basically. And we can bring in the poison food. Or here's another idea. We've got the exact coordinates. Hey Lane, fill up that drop pod of food with explosives and target this spot to blow up the Hydra.
It will never be 100% accurate enough to do that. But
why not?
I mean, as I said, there's a little bit of deviation based on wind and all this kind of shit. It's not pinpoint artillery. It's being fired out.
I think we bring down the poison foods. We chat them a bit longer. We leave, and we call in the stormtroopers and the AC-130. Because we've painted those targets in the bottom of this base. So I mean,
if that AC-130 thing was it the Avenger? Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
If the Avenger can just like come down immediately, targeting that spot to obliterate it.
I have one piece.
The Hydra. Oh, sorry.
I was going to say, I've got one piece to add to that, is that what's giving the Hydra eyes is the very top of the tower with that, like, telescope, right? Unless there are other telescopes spread out throughout the rest of the tower.
Mr. Sniper, I wonder how we could disable a telescope.
That's kind of what I'm saying, is that we can coordinate our efforts here a little bit. And if for nothing else, we can make sure the Avenger targets, I don't know, the ammo dump next to the Hydra. Eventually, those things do run out of.
I mean, I'm pretty sure it just blows up the whole area.
Well, we can hope, with you guys not in it, ideally.
Well, we would deliver the food and then leave.
Mm-hmm.
We bring down the tainted food. We chat to them a bit. Do we go up the top of the tower and see what we can see?
They're gonna let us up there? Then I don't think so.
We need to be able to commune with the sky to bring down the food. We have
didn't
to
have
go
to
up
do
high.
it last time.
That is true.
It's nighttime.
It was nighttime last time. To be fair,
I thought it was daytime.
It was evening, same sort of time. I'll point out as well, being inside of a camp, being hit by a fairly wide area of effect weapon is not a good idea. If you're thinking of hunkering down in there. Cool. Like this thing has an Avenger bolt cannon, which is firing a huge quantity of high explosive shells the size of your fist, which is going to tear apart any soft targets in the area.
Either way, I know I'm on the box right now, or at least I can be, to call all this in here to Lane of what we want him to do. So
poison food. The order of operations: poison food and stormtroopers, and then we get into position, and then Thunderbolt.
Well, yes, and I do want to say too, they very specifically said they want armaments this time, not food.
Well, why don't we bring down? Okay, we would have some dud munitions, right? We get them to put
I would not say this in front of him.
Yeah,
right now,
I'm going to say, like,
saying.
you guys, if you want to have this conversation, you are going to on the microbead, but you were in a camp being watched. So
that's true.
Like
that's true.
Whilst it is important to plan this, maybe don't plan it in front of a guy who you've just broken bread with, who has kind of just threatened you. Yeah,
he vaguely did.
No, Tora, he's officially shitting Tora's dick right now.
Yeah.
I believe he's on the list.
What a gross way to put that.
Yeah.
But yeah, the other thing is like, so this oracle is what's leading them to treasure or whatever, to relics. Yeah, I'm not saying this in character. I'm just
right.
So like, is this the head of the operation? Like, obviously this is important, but like, you know what I mean? Like, we're looking for who is the head. The best knowledge we have to that is just this guy because he's got the bigger V on his head. But now we know about this oracle, so it's like, who? How do we?
I have a very weird idea out of character.
Go on.
It would involve Warwick doing a Scottish accent briefly.
Do you want to call her for Fabio?
I want to call her Famuel. I want to call her Famuel. Rob Brydon. I want to call her Famuel, and I want to ask him if he can sense demons, given the information that we have so far.
He would have to physically. He can't do it over the phone.
Sure.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna hold the phone.
All of Samuel's like his built-in inline and it's just the Doom soundtrack.
Yeah. I also don't. If you remember, like, demonic stuff is very, very specific. It's not just like people are a little bit demonic. He could detect if a person was disguised as a demon, that kind of thing. But just general vibes is not really what that's for. Like, gotcha. Demonology is specific. Is this guy trying to summon a demon, or is this a demon? Kind of thing.
Okay. In another side of this,
yes.
Academically, could I ask him the question of, given the signs that we're seeing right now and the information that's provided, could I then ask him, hey, does this sound a lot like chaotic demon shit?
Out of character here, right? Like,
yeah.
What signs are you getting that this is anything demonic at all?
Okay, out of character, what I'm getting out of this is it sounds like they're being indoctrinated pretty heavily using their own religion to then go and do harm to the people that they once loved, which sounds really bad. And suggests, let's put it this way, right? Like, it's one thing to be like a part of a club where you're different. It's entirely another thing where you have increasingly ornate V's drawn on your forehead.
Let's just look back through human history, though, and there were no demons necessary for half the shit we did.
I would beg to differ. There are several of them.
That's because you're Catholic.
How dare you out me twice on the same podcast? Yeah, and like, I don't know, fucking. It sounds like some spooky shit. I don't want to be carving nothing in my
I just
forehead.
feel like, I don't know, maybe this, again, I feel like you're getting that, I don't know, is that something Lothar's getting? Is that something you're getting out of character? Out of character, to me, I'm not really seeing any.
You've not seen...
feel like Warg would have given more signs of demons.
I'm a subtle man, how dare you?
At this point, I feel like you would have given us a little bit more to go on that route.
So,
but
ritual scarification, you have not seen across anyone else in Alchadar. You've not seen this kind of thing from any of the other tribes, where they're like outwardly hostile, but we will work with you if you prove your strength, kind of thing. It's kind of like, if I can chill out a bit, don't be a cunt.
I'm not saying it's out of the question, but like, I don't know. It wasn't really on my table.
Hey, look, guys, I look like Warwick.
Wow.
Oh my God.
He's putting his hair back. God.
So here's in and out of character why Lothar might think that there might be something heretical at a minimum and demonic at a maximum. First, he's had this experience before with our Famuel in a fucking elevator where something went rogue and tried to kill him, and there was a whole bunch of warp bullshit going on. Number one. Number two.
Wait, how is that relevant to what's going on now?
I'm just about to explain that. Number two, what we have with the ritual scarification of these people who believe in Vresh is vastly different. They're incredibly violent, and they're killing other followers of Vresh, which seems just a little bit counter to the whole like religion thing of balance that we just learned about. Right?
You are correct.
Right, but they split off.
No
from the
religion
tribe.
has ever gone out of its way to kill slightly different religions.
not without a serious, without a serious effort in rebranding. They haven't.
No, it's like I get what you're saying, but at the same time, I'm just like these humans do this. It's not out of the question.
Tell me what the difference between a Sunni and a Shiite are.
Let's not go there. But what we'll say.
What's your opinion on Palestine?
Let's not do that. Let's not do that.
Let's not do that at all. The last thing here that is drawing.
Version of a two-state solution is two separate rail lines from Jerusalem to eastern Poland.
So, can you guess, listener, what part was cut? I can. So, the last thing, the nail in the coffin, if you will, here, where Lothar's thinking that this might be kind of heretical, is they literally just said that they're trying to upend the Imperium, which is, I think, the biggest death knell for this.
Oh yeah, they're dead. They're dead now.
He didn't. Mm-hmm. Okay, let's just make sure we have the wording correct here.
Sure.
He should say play back the tape.
Sure, Vresh apologist.
No, he did not say we want to go to the stars to kill the Imperium. He said we want to go to the stars to fight Vresh's enemies, but that they are not on the Imperium's side.
Of which the Imperium is one. He specifically said that.
Warwick, is that true?
I believe so, yes.
Because then that's a bit.
Although, listener at home, you're able to rewind and see if I'm a silly bastard.
my hearing of that was just Vresh's enemies are everywhere. We need to go kill them. The Imperium is not our friend. If they're in the way, we'll kill them too. Not we're gonna go kill the Imperium. But maybe I misheard that part.
It seems fair. And either way, you can read that as threat to the Imperium, which is what we're here to stop.
Which is why we need to stop them. That point is solidified.
Yeah,
but that does not mean they're led by a demon or a heretic.
I don't know that. That's why I wanted to consult an expert, I think is what I'm trying to get at. That's why I'm like, I don't know what
I would
this
agree
is.
on that aspect, and I would like to see this oracle, but now they want to hide it from us. So
exactly, which sounds really sus, doesn't it?
Yeah, I'm just not.
Oh my god!
I'm not suggesting. I just wouldn't leap
past a cane.
I wouldn't leap to demons all the time. Is all I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying is there could be a heretic
humans do
among
bad things without the need for demons.
Yeah.
Oh my god, it's gonna be. There's gonna have been a gene stealer inside one of the fucking shipping crates from the Vresh Grenadiers. Maybe that's why they broke up in orbit, and it's been a gene stealer cult the entire time.
All this time, it's gene stealers all the way to the top. I'm saying nothing.
We would have seen some sign of that.
Yeah, the guy puts his third arm around your shoulder and says, I think it's time you leave the camp now.
Out of the V in his head comes an extra eye.
Yeah. So yeah, like, you guys, I think, are kind of being politely shown the door of the camp, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Well, like, we will go commune with the sky. Let you know how we get on there, champ.
Good luck, Skyfallen. Vresh is counting on you.
Yeah, Reshkin County.
And you too, soldier.
You too.
Yeah. You guys slide over the dune to BGZ and
slide
Lothar.
over it, so we slide upwards.
You start running really fast. And you just go woo. You land perfectly in your driving seat.
We discussed this before the session. So when we're leaving the camp, if you walk backwards and do a BA input, you actually slide up the dune. You can actually clip into the final boss fight of the
It's all just Link sound effects.
Yeah, it is amazing. Yeah, there is a special wall of the. This is the reason our family's no longer in the game. Sadly, is that he managed to get a pot and place it in the corner of his room, and if he jumped on it, he would no clip through. And he's actually he's like 8 sessions ahead of you guys right now. That's the reason he's not here.
T-posing.
He's stuck T-posing, but once you guys reach that, it will be like the save won't be broken anymore, and you'll be able to play with him.
It's like the cutscene trigger.
Yeah, exactly. He's stuck at the plot point. You guys need to, That's where Raph is.
The demons he's fighting is that he's fighting the demons of poor game design.
Exactly. But yeah, what would you guys like to do? What is the plan? They basically said, we ain't fucking on the side of the Imperium, fuckers.
I'd like to jump on a bucket and see what happens.
Wait, what did I just hear?
What?
I'd like to fuck a bucket as well, Let's get back to the game.
Like I'd like to come in a bucket.
That is not what I said.
We all heard different things. I heard jump in a bucket.
I said jump with a bucket and see what happens to see if we can go forward.
So we learned from this session that Critter doesn't enunciate properly. But
that doesn't sound memorable.
Yeah. So yeah, what's the plan?
Well, okay. Let Lothar talk to Orphamuel about demons, I guess.
Cool. That will be a letter. Like Bradford's given me permission that he will answer letters to Orphamuel.
Well, that's not going to matter in the long run.
Oh my god! All right.
Yeah.
How are you?
I am well.
So yeah.
How stealthily you'd be more familiar with the Halo drops. I only remember one time jumping out of a flying down gunship, attempting to land on some big iron legs.
Wait, okay, hold on. We're gonna ignore the demon aspect that Lothar is worried about for now, or what?
It's gonna be a letter. He'll come back to it. Basically, out of character, that's what's gonna happen.
And let me lay out my understanding. So, demon or not, we can use whatever we do next as an opportunity to call out the heads of this faction. Be it the Oracle, be it a demon, whatever. We can use this to attempt to get them to come out. Whatever we end up doing, we're going to disrupt the majority of their operation, as far as we understand, unless they've got something huge in a way.
They want munitions. We bring down some munitions with some remote charges deep inside the crate. Get them to move the box of ammunition to the base, and we make it say that
best placed near Hydra.
Yeah, no. We say we have a message from Vresh saying that he wants his emissaries to meet the Oracle.
Well, I guess here's do we want this to start the fight? Like you said, we have a remote trigger. It lands somewhere outside their base. A few of them have to go out and get it. While they're going out to get it, the telescope is taken out. Shortly thereafter, the gunship comes down and obliterates the... it could obliterate the campsite practically, but in particular, we're aiming for the anti-air. Then the troops can come in. And then whatever fighting occurs at that point, it's a matter of just like I said, calling them out. Like, if you want this to end, bring out your leaders, challenge them to a fight, Tora. I don't know, whatever.
Or do we meet the lead, bring down the stormtroopers, get them in position with Lothar? We have the munitions that says, "Dearest followers of my words and teachings, I want my emissaries to meet the Oracle."
So I'll point out as well, they don't think that you guys are speaking with the voice of Vresh. Like they view that you're summoning something from the same place Vresh is doing it, but you're not necessarily the voice of Vresh, because they appear to have their own one of that. And you seem to not know what Vresh is and know his teachings well, so they're not really thinking that you're like messiahs of Vresh, if that makes sense.
I don't really think we're going to force them with letters and stuff to do our bidding. I think it's a matter of a show of force. We are strong, you are weak. By your own logic, do what we demand.
I'll fight someone to death with my bare hands if you want. It's been a little bit. Let me get my bear gloves on.
I like that joke. I think I agree with at least lying in wait with them here, seeing if we can't try to have the Troopers Halo drop far back and out. We don't know what kind of scouts they've got around in the area though here too. My only concern would be is
if a bunch of highly trained stormtroopers can't remain undetected.
But these are people that literally watch the skies. I don't think anything we bring down is going to be missed on them. I literally, I highly recommend that whatever we do has to be within short succession, one after another, hit fast and hard. None of this waiting around. When we say go, it's go time, and every step of the plan has to be executed. We can't just have the soldiers waiting and climbing. It has to be one after another.
You're starting to sound like a captain.
Just telling you the facts of the situation.
I like this idea.
Cool.
Gunship in and out. Shoot telescopes. Gunship comes and lights up the targets that we've lined up.
we had the stormtroopers deploy with us, and then we divide and conquer it. We fucking
so they
kill
can
them all.
deploy on the hill with us, basically aiming for that area.
The only thing I'd ask is that if we're going to hit this, we need to do it at a good time where my shots aren't going to be seen. So I'm going to suggest. Well, what time is it right now? Actually,
it's like 7 o'clock at night.
Okay. I'm
Well,
going to
keep
say
in mind they're going to move out to the Skystarers place at some point too.
my only fear is that I cannot disguise what a bolt looks like from this unless the light is particularly strong and coming from another light source.
Does it matter if they know where you are after?
Yes.
What if I hold one of my? What if I put a hole in one of my one of my big cans and I just hold it over the front?
So the long las does have an inbuilt flash hider, but it's not going to be perfect. And you're right, it will be much more obvious to see at night than during the day.
Absolutely.
I mean, we could wait till say like morning or something, but the problem is if they start to move, then the whole plan goes to.
Has the sun set or is it setting?
It's set.
So we need to make sure that Hydra is where it is to be destroyed.
Absolutely, which from what you guys described to me is that it's entrenched right now.
What if we
They
go
aren't moving
around
it.
to the other side and we set some grenades on a timer and then come back from this angle? Grenades go off while they're looking that way. We shoot the telescopes. Warthog comes in.
Also, whilst I do think this whole telescope thing is a cool idea, the telescope is not probably used for range findings and stuff with the Hydra. Like that's more.
No, not range finding. More so, my concern is on my end of it.
They spot
like
it super early, and rather than
reconnaissance.
Yeah.
And
they will still have spotters and stuff with the Hydra. Like it will have inbuilt targeting stuff, but it will definitely be hampered if they don't know it's coming at them yet.
Right.
But what I'm saying is like, okay, if you just move after your first shot, like.
This isn't my first rodeo, Amelia. I know
yeah,
that.
but I'm just saying, like, it doesn't.
So this second rodeo.
It's my second rodeo. What I'm saying is that last time they didn't know which way the bolt came from due to the fact that the light was starting to be really strong as the sun was setting. It's stuff that I have to think about. Just trust me when I say it's going to be better for me to make a shot not in the middle of the night.
Here's the scenario, okay? The thing comes down and they're distracted. You shoot the telescope and then we blow it up. There are two things happening at once. What are they going to be more concerned about? The ammo crate that they just got blowing up and probably killing a few people and having, causing a fire in the camp or outside of it? Or are they going to notice the flash and the telescope?
I can do you one better, and I can make the shot happen as the crate's coming down.
Sure, whatever works best for that. And then shortly after that, if we're following the plan of quick execution, then we have the gun. Like I think even if they find your initial position, I don't know that they're going to have any real ability to react to you.
I just don't know where their spotters are. That's my.
These are all important tactical stuff to think as you guys are setting up camp for the evening. I think we should probably end the session there and come up with a very good plan of action for the next time.
Sounds like a plan to me.